Time, especially when you are a rookie. What are the sort of emotions that you're experiencing going into this weekend?
To be honest, I'm just really looking forward to driving. I've been like looking forward to this moment for now, what, 2 months, 3 months. Getting into the car, driving again. It's been last time in January I have driven a car, so I'm just ready to get the rust off and get going.
What have the engineers said to you about the delay in being able to start up the car just only yesterday? How much is that going to set you back as a team?
Excuse me?
What have the engineers said about the delay in getting the car together and only firing it up yesterday? Is that going to affect you for these 3 days?
Not at all. Not at all. I think everything was right as it was. Everything went well yesterday, and car looks good on track, so everything good.
Of course, you've had a bit of experience with the team at the end of last year here in Bahrain, but then also after Abu Dhabi. What's that done for you in terms of building your rapport with the mechanics and the engineers?
I think it's been great. Obviously, unfortunately, it's been only 1 day, but then also I got to go for 1.5 days to the factory in February, I think it was, and I was able to do my seat fit. Obviously, that's great. And then coming here, it just already feels like a big family, and that's what's really needed, and that's what gives me the confidence to jump in the car without being nervous.
In terms of the expectations for the year, Gunther's talked a bit about it being a transition year. Is that quite helpful for you in a way, because it takes away some of the pressure?
Well, I wouldn't say so, because at the end I have also the expectation on myself. I want to do well. I want to show my performance, and therefore I will do everything I can. And obviously, I know the team will too. So we have two strong parties now who want to go for the same thing. And as I said, if we work really as a team and as a family, I think we'll do really well.
Have a fantastic few days. Preparation's been like coming into being a. How does it compare to being an F2 driver?
Well, it's much better, to be honest. There's a lot more work to do. How much information there is to take in, before a testing day yesterday, and the day has started at 7 a.m. and it has finished way past 9. So it is very demanding. However, I believe that to operate these very difficult cars, it's really important.
And of course, you got a flavour of what the car is like yesterday during the shakedown. What did it feel like? Just the differences, obviously, from last year in F2, but also a sort of flavour of what's to come for you guys this year.
Yeah, well, to sum it up pretty quickly, everything is double the speed. So you accelerate faster, you brake quicker. There's much more happening. You have much more choice of setup in the pit lane, and everything is just way more complicated. So there's less time to think about the basic driving, and much more time needs to be spent on analysing the things.
What can people expect from Haas this year? What have you all been talking about behind the scenes in terms of expectations?
Well, we believe that it's going to be a challenging year, but every year in F1, is challenging. So for me, coming in as a rookie, it's very important to, minimize the mistakes, learn along the way all the time, and hopefully lead the team in a direction where the car will be very competitive in the coming years.
And what about from you, Nikita, on the track? What can fans expect from you driving this year?
Well, it will not be boring, regardless of where the starting position is. My aim in Formula One and in any other championship was always to go forward. So that's not going to change. So I'll try and make it interesting for everyone.
Well, we look forward to watching. And you've mentioned that you're going to have to slightly adapt your driving style. It's a different sort of mode you've got to operate in compared to in the junior formula. How do you actually manage that on a day-to-day basis? Are you working with your engineers to manage that style?
No, I actually think it's very simple. So, when you're a young driver, potentially having a shot at Formula One, and obviously having been dreaming of it for 15 years, you just don't want to let any opportunity slide by. You want to grab it by the throat and get it done. So that's obviously very different. Here you have to be mature, you have to be analytic, and you need to be very professional in your approach. You're racing against 20 best drivers in the world, so the approach is going to be very different, but the goal is going to be the same. It's to win races, but it's important to also stay realistic.
Obviously, a huge colour scheme change for Haas. Is this a temporary thing, or are we going to see this the whole year, do you think?
Hopefully the whole year, because we don't want to have the stress for the team of repainting it. About everything else, it's difficult to say, because we have a great team boss called Günther Steiner, who I believe is capable of answering that question himself.
Okay, thanks very much. Enjoy your next few days.
Thank you.
Like to be continuing onwards. He has stopped. I'm thinking this is at turn 4.
That's his seat buckle, obviously. Seatbelt buckle he's put on the front of the chassis there.
So mechanical issue for Charles Leclerc, and it is at turn 4 where he stopped, and he's pulled the car to one side. Session being stopped so that they can recover the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. First red flag of the testing session for 2021.
It's probably the end of the session, I'd imagine, is it not?
Yeah, I would imagine so, with just under 10 minutes to go.
Gearbox is fine. It started to misfire, didn't it, down the pit straight. Fuel run out test. Be surprised if they were doing that at this point. But
Yeah, I'd like you, it seems a little early in the day to be trying fuel run out tests.
It started to misfire toward before the braking zone down the pit straight.
Yeah. Oh, no, he's giving it a helping hand and giving it a wee push. Clock continues to run down. They don't stop the clock when we have cars that stop out on track.
You must leave the car in neutral, steering wheel on, and maybe depress the clutch button as well, so they can give it a move. It's moving along nicely enough, isn't it? Yeah. Presumably somebody else is pushing the front wheel as well. We can't see.
Where you normally want to be stopping, or at all, to be honest. Sebastian Vettel stopping at the end of the pit lane. The marshal comes over to say, "You okay?" Seb's like, "Don't worry, I can see my crew racing towards me." Otmar Safnauer, the team principal at Aston Martin, looks on as well, but he's gone over the line, hasn't he, at the end?
He can, if it's stalled, he can start it up himself with the onboard power, but it looks like it's somewhat different to that, doesn't it, with the gang running down there, as you pointed out.
Problem there. Ocon deep at 10. And he will return. Just seeing if it was a further problem, but he appears to be trundling back okay.
Esteban just backing out of going over the curbs. Don't want to cause any unnecessary damage to that.
Yeah, good presence of mind from Esteban Ocon.
Now you're not allowed to pull the screens across. A significant problem. I have the news in fresh from Mercedes, and it is an issue with the transmission. It's a gear shift problem. We are swapping the gearbox now to minimize the loss of track time, and then we will work to understand the cause. So happily, it was not a power unit issue.
The problem, car just being completed now, say Mercedes. So I think with 43 minutes to go, we will get Mercedes out at some stage. Toto Wolff watching from the back of the garage. That's just coming out of the garage. It doesn't happen often, though. That's the good thing about me being right. Valtteri Bottas, ladies and gentlemen, is emerging into the daylight. You'll probably find it's got a bit sandier out there. He's got 35 minutes left of his day's work in terms of driving a car.
Maybe Lewis will give him an hour or two of his.
Chances of that happening?
It's I mean, it shows their confidence in gearboxes these days, isn't it? This is the thing we were talking about before with dynos and all that. You know, the fact Martin, with a brand new gearbox that they've put on there, he drives on and does a practice start at the end of the pit lane, putting all that torque through it. You know, you would never have got that in the pre-gearbox dyno days, would you?
It's got a lot of aero measurement equipment on the back of it, so it's been sent out there in order to...
Well, they've lost all that time, haven't they? The others, when the others were running the aero rakes in the first hour of the session, Mercedes lost all that.
Try and break the car. That is
moment for Max Verstappen.
A bit of a moment for Max.
Half spin for him, coming out of 2. It's on the racetrack, and it's going to be an out for the to get out there, and the Alpha this morning driven by Kimi Räikkönen. That's Sebastian Vettel, who's heading out onto the circuit, but plenty of aero rakes, plenty of sensors, plenty of data to be accrued in the next hours and no waiting around. The installation lap's fully underway. Raikkonen, Vettel, Ricciardo, Leclerc, and then Gasly that you can see there making their way through turn number 2.